Welcome everyone to the Drone Buzz. We've got Ryan Quellet today, and we're going to be talking DJI versus HDZero. Digital FPV has come a long way, and he knows a thing or two. So, welcome, Ryan. We're glad to have you here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here and glad to introduce HDZero to more people.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It is an exciting thing. So, stay tuned, and we will get into HDZero. We'll be back in dos minutos. Right. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be talking HDZero, but before we do, let's know Ryan a little bit. And yes, we are going to do turtle time, but it's going to be a little bit different. Chris is flying around. I'm going to be flying this.
So, hey, Jack, your audio is sounding a little weird to me. Ryan, does it sound funny to you?
Yeah, it does.
Cutting out.
My audio was great a minute ago. Give me a second here, and I'll
better now.
It's fine now. You just got to move the mic closer.
You got to move that mic.
All right. Well, sorry about that. So yeah, fun show. We'll get to know Ryan a little bit, and yes, I'll be doing the turtle time today instead of Chris. So we'll see with the Tiny Hawk 3. But yeah, Ryan. Well, let's before we get into that, let's find out about you. So where are you from?
Sure. Yeah, I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's really cold.
We know that. Yeah.
But it's great in the summertime. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like Grand Rapids. Is the Founders Brewery that's in Grand Rapids?
It is, yes.
One of my favorites.
Like to call ourselves Beer Town, USA.
Yeah, good times. So you race these things, yeah?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm all about, kind of in my blood right now. Yeah, I actually started off with the Phantom 3 Pro.
Okay.
Actually, before that, the Parrot AR drone.
Yes. I think Chris got one on the wall.
Yeah, that was a great entry into this higher technology form of RC.
Yeah.
And before that, I did like fixed wing planes and stuff like that, line of sight.
Very cool.
But yeah, the Phantom 3 is a pretty amazing jump when I started to fly that. And I actually still have the darn thing, and the batteries all still work, and I still use it from time to time. I just haven't had a need to move on from that to the newer versions, because for me, I like to fly fast and proximity and kind of like I'm right there in the drone, and the Phantom is more like a, I don't know, sit back and get some cool looking shots, but you don't get close.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have an alter ego? What do you do? Do you do something else other than race drones?
Oh yeah, you mean my day job?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a software development manager at Vibration Research, and what we do is make vibration control systems and data acquisition and analysis. So heavy into engineering, which is a ton of fun.
Very cool.
Sounds right up my alley. I'm an engineer too, so
yeah, very cool.
I deal with vibrations.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. But maybe we don't want to get into that.
Sounds a little odd. So what is your go-to drone? Like you just want to get out and fly. What are you grabbing? What are you gonna go with?
Okay, so if it's indoor, I'm gonna be running a Whoop, but I'm gonna tell you the one I love to fly the most, which is gonna be outdoor in my backyard, and that's this tiny trainer. So it's a 3-inch drone.
Mm-hmm.
And I can take this out in my small backyard and flip over top of the roof and back and forth and shoot through the play set and just have a ton of fun flying really fast and close to things. Sometimes I'll set up gates in the yard and stuff like that. I'm sure my neighbors love me. It has LEDs on it too that are fantastically bright, so everybody can see exactly where it is.
Yeah, that's cool. Is that the 333?
Yeah, this is the 533. So we just raced these two at the spec race.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. I've been thinking about picking one of those up for the summertime fun. But that looks cool.
Yeah. Yeah. If I had to pick one drone, it'd be this guy. Yep.
Yeah. Very cool. We got some people here in the chat, some friendly faces. John Coopy, Sergio from Fly Zone Drones. Sergio, we owe you a drone. I talked to Mike the other day. Chris has it in Elgin, so you'll
just
have to
got it.
Yeah, I did just give it to him today.
So we should meet up.
FPV. Carl's here. Welcome, Carl. We're talking HDZero, so it's good to see you in the chat. That's awesome. Vince B, One Vision, Ariel. Lots of awesome people here. So welcome everybody to the show. So where's your go-to place to fly, Ryan? Where do you like flying?
My backyard.
Hence the tiny trainer, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
it is so much easier to do that.
But really, besides the backyard, I feel a lot more safe taking this to any old park where there's some trees where you can shoot through, get over the canopy. So I'll take it to small parks. I have a flying field I go to in Holland that called Tulip City Air Force. And there we do lots of races and meetups and casual stuff and streamer cutting competitions. So that's a ton of fun. In the summertime, I'm usually out that way.
Yeah, that is super cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Cool. So let's see. Let me fire off the next one here. Like, do you have any weird or uncomfortable drone experiences? Anything gone wrong out there, or run-ins or anything like that? Any good stories?
Any good stories? I shouldn't tell you some of them.
All right. Well,
those are the ones we want to hear.
But I can say I've been flying this kind of drone around in the house. Right, my daughter's got really curly hair, and yeah, you can see where this goes. Yeah. So she loves to get real close to it. It's pretty harmless and sucks right into the hair.
Yep.
And took me a solid hour to detangle her hair one time.
Yeah,
I've done that also.
I've had drones hanging from my daughter's head as well.
Yeah. She thought it was great.
Yeah.
Okay. She got a free head massage. All right. So that's it. No, nothing more scandalous.
I can't share that.
Okay.
Awesome. So, is there anybody that you've never flown with but would like to fly with?
Yeah. So this weekend I got to fly with some people that I wanted to fly with for a long time. So we got to fly with Min Chan Kim. So I can cross that one off the bucket list.
Cool.
I think it'd be cool to meet up with some freestyle guys that are pretty big in the hobby. So there's Mr. Steele, that'd be pretty cool. Ladrib.
Yeah, got to get the mustache going though.
Yeah.
Drew's awesome. I've never flown with him, but he talks to my high school students. I teach a drones class, and he comes in when we do the FPV unit via Zoom, and we have a homework assignment titled Ladrib, and the kids watch freestyle, and he tells us all about it, and it's fun. So yeah, he would be a fun guy to fly with. He's on my list too. So good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So what about a place you could fly if you want to get some awesome cinematic shots?
Yeah, shoot. So there's a lot of really cool places I'd like to fly that it's not legal to fly at. let me tell you how badly I wanted to power loop the St. Louis Arch today. It was really bad. I had to resist that urge.
Yeah, my dad lives down there, so I researched the area. It looks like there's some places downtown that'd be super cool. As you notice, both sides of the river there are blocked.
Yeah.
There's some airport in the Illinois side that allegedly, has like 0 feet. Yeah, so that's kind of annoying. But but it's like everything that's cool around downtown St. Louis. It's like you can't fly there, or you don't want to go there without security. There's some awesome like graffiti walls and stuff like on the north of the arch.
Yeah.
And I couldn't quite stomach, my kids still want a father, so
yes,
didn't make it there.
This Skate Laborious cathedral is I was talking about that earlier with you.
Mm-hmm.
That was incredible. It was weird because I go to a church a lot like that.
Yeah.
It was very weird, but it was very interesting. So they would have torn the building down if these guys hadn't come in and turned it into a skate park. But just to fly around inside here and do a racetrack that I would say is more like freestyle than racing, it was incredible.
Yeah, this is just super cool. I saw this morning. I'm like, wow, that's neat.
Yeah.
Like, what a fun venue to fly in. Like, it just, the arches and the columns, it just kind of creates there are a lot of natural gates there. Then you throw in some gates, and you got the colorful graffiti, the half pipe there. That's a pretty slick location for sure.
Yep. And I got this 2S tiny whoop out after the race, and I was going around exploring, going into holes that were in the building, going up to like the bells. It was pretty interesting. So I don't just race. People like to, I think, pin people down like, oh, you're just a racer, right? No, I fly, and sometimes I race.
That is cool. Yeah. That is a really neat place. And the HDZero system makes it, I mean, you can see the colors and stuff. It's, it's different than if you were just ripping around in some old analog. So, and that's cool. And that's why we wanted to talk, because I've seen you're putting out HDZero video after HDZero video. And, I don't have HDZero, right? I've got a bunch of analog things, and I do have some HDI or DJI HD stuff. And I kind of been avoiding getting, the HDZero because it just, it's not going to be in one of these things, right? So I'll just wait until someone figures it out. But looks like HDZero is getting smaller and more compact, and I know there's a production 2S whoop, and there's some other things in the works. But before we get to that, how did you get involved with HDZero?
Sure, yeah. I was an early adopter of the system, picked it up last year in January, and I thought this was really cool. The camera was a little lacking, but coming from analog, it felt exactly like analog, and I wanted to see it grow. There were all these reviews out there saying, basically, don't buy it. It's no better than analog. Why are you spending DJI money for this?
Yeah.
And instead of just giving up on it, I thought, okay, let's do some research, see if we can get a better camera or see if we can improve the quality of the camera. And I stumbled across this thing on RC Groups. Elf Scar had posted that he replaced the plastic small lens that came with the camera with a really high quality M12 glass lens. And it looked way better. But I hadn't seen anyone else post what this looked like. So I downloaded the files, and it was 3D print. You had to use a SLA printer to get a good quality print. It was very detailed to replace the camera housing. And then that allowed you to install the bigger lens. So I did that, and I put up a video of how I did it and some of the things I had to do to get it to work right. And people were blown away. They couldn't believe that HDZero could look better than what it had looked like before.
Yeah.
So after that, I kind of just made it my mission, I guess, to keep on showing people what it could be if we tried a little harder. And I compelled Bardwell and others to take a second look at this.
Yeah.
Let's keep on pushing it, And just by continuously pushing, that's how I got involved and have stayed involved.
Yeah, that's awesome. It does look like it's come a long way. You know, my first, I saw it when it came out, when it was Shark Bite, right? Or Bite Frost, or it was a fat shark product, and I saw it, and I saw DJI, and I'm like, they just, they're not the same. I already have one. I'm going to stick with it. But there are some significant differences, and there's reasons why they don't look the same, right? And we talked a little bit about that. Can you explain why does DJI look different than HDZero, and why is HDZero so much faster, right? Why is there so much less latency with HDZero?
Yeah, the reason is it's kind of complicated, but I sent you a video of a slow motion of how the different systems work, and I can walk you through it if you put that up.
Let's do that. Sure. Hey, I just want to say, while it gets pulled up, I was watching the cathedral video with my son, and I sometimes give him some goggles when I fly around, and literally this is exactly what he said. He said, "How come that looks so good?" That's what he had to say about it. Not how cool does the cathedral look. He said, "Why does that camera look so good?" So that's one review anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway,
he is used to the standard analog. So all right. So I got this slow motion.
Yep. So this is analog. I think this first one, and these are really blurry. Like, don't judge the video quality. What I want you to look at is the way that you can go back to that one again at the beginning. The way that it scans from the top to the bottom. This is super slow motion right now. We're looking at how a frame is presented. So the frames come in scanning from top to bottom continuously. Here's DJI. If you kind of just move the camera, and what you'll notice if you look real close is a pattern where it updates about 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, 1, 2, 3, 4, pause.
Yeah.
And so this is at full signal strength without any kind of things blocking the signal. And then this is what if you push the signal and get it down to like 3 megabit per second. So it gets blurrier and even less consistent. So the frame pacing is different, and it's because it's basically posting images and delta frames between the main keyframes. It's just really different is what I'm trying to point out. And then I think the next video right after this DJI one is how HDZero is updating. So it's blurry because I got my camera just kind of shoved into the goggle, but it's doing the same update as analog.
Yeah.
Where it's rolling from top to bottom continuously.
Okay.
So you're actually getting information at you continuously instead of in frames. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not that the latency necessarily is better. It is. It's that it's smooth, and you're getting continuous video instead of individual frames.
Yeah, and that is something that I've experienced. And Chris and I, we were flying out at a family reunion where I was flying the DJI FPV drone, and I was up over a cornfield and I was doing something I don't remember, and I ended up in the corn, right? And it was like 1 second I was fine and everything looked good, and then it just kind of stuttered, and it was mostly pilot error, but just that change in latency, it was just it was really weird, and I just didn't handle it correctly, and that end up crashing my quad, right? And then I got to go out into the sea of corn, and if you ever had the pleasure of trying to find a drone in a cornfield, it's not fun. But
you get a buzz around that drone right away after that.
It was beeping.
It was hard to hear.
Still got to find it. Yeah.
So I was out there too. Yeah, and it was only about 50 yards away. I mean, it shouldn't have had signal quality issues.
Yeah.
So the difference between these two systems is really a difference in priority. The one is working almost identical to analog, and allows the video to degrade and show you like missing pieces, right? This is intentional interference right here. And then DJI will kind of blur and reduce the bit rate, and then the frame rate will get a little less consistent.
Right.
So it's just two different choices for how to handle the problem. And the HDZero one basically works the way analog does with the fixed latency.
So where's the HDZero at in terms of contrast, color? Without, maybe you can get into some of those specs a little bit, other than the latency.
Sure. Contrast, colors. I don't know the exact specifics of the contrast and colors. It's really determined by the camera that you put behind it. I'm pretty sure they use the same color space between the DJI system and the HDZero system. One thing I've noticed with HDZero and DJI is that the colors are maintained way better than on analog. On analog, the black and white signal has more resilience to it, and then the analog, the color signal on analog is kind of like tacked on top, and it's kind of like the first thing to get mangled. So a lot of times with analog, if you're pushing it, you'll notice that the colors kind of rainbow on you and do weird things. But with the digital systems, it's the color and the position of objects is the same priority.
Yeah. So this is cool, and my first thought is, well, it's awesome that HDZero I think is now competing. Maybe competing is not the right word in terms of DJI. I think they're actually different markets, right? The latency for DJI just isn't going to come down any less, right? It's not going to be much faster just because of, I think, the way, kind of what you presented. It's sending those block images, right? And it can only do that so fast, especially if it's got to show us that high quality image. But the low latency kind of opens up the doors for HDZero to move into a couple of markets where DJI just can't be. And, racing is one of them, right? We already see that. That's what people are racing with HDZero. Is that accurate?
Yeah. People are racing with HDZero. Evan Turner won multi-GP championship flying HDZero. He did that kind of on a whim after I showed it to him. He said, "Okay, I'm going to prove a point. I'm going to push the industry forward. I'm going to fly digital and try to win." And he did it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. You'll see people that say, "Look, I can fly DJI just as fast as I can fly HDZero on a track." Vanover did that test, and it was essentially a wash.
Yeah.
I think if Vanover kept on flying HDZero, he would find he's more consistent with it.
Yeah.
Especially with the 4x3 camera and the new goggle with even better, tighter latency. But Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. So yeah,
Sure.
you can race it.
Yeah. But so that's one market, right? That I think that it's
Mhm.
going to continue to be in. But the other is these things, right? Like
Yeah.
we've got a 2S, and there's smaller boards in the works, right? So you've got something like this, but even better, don't you?
Oh yeah, of course I do. And I got a video that you can see about this too. But I took the Tiny Hawk 3. Don't mind the camera. I'm just kind of experimenting with different lenses and putting bigger ones on there. But normally it would be a smaller standard canopy. And at the bottom, I've got the 1S prototype VTX. So on this Tiny Hawk 3, there's actually a mounting pattern that fits the VTX perfectly.
That's awesome.
And I've let everybody fly this thing and beat the absolute snot out of it, and it is still kicking because these are so light.
Yeah.
You crash them, there's not the mass there to cause a lot of damage, and it's just so fun.
So how much does the 1S VTX weigh? What
Yeah.
are you adding to it?
So the current VTX that's this form factor is about 5.5 grams. The board that I've got here, which is the first prototype, is I think 4.5 grams.
Okay.
And then the final production one is going to be trimmed down even more than this. Remove some connectors, put on some lighter weight connectors, did a bunch of optimizations based on feedback from myself and Mr. Shutterbug and other testers. And it's going to be down around anywhere from like 3.7 to 4 grams.
That's awesome. Like these things they're going to be digital, and that was something, yes, there are some 2 and some 3S whoops that, whoops, right? But they're big and they're heavy when you put the big batteries on them. I love flying 1S around my house, and I am stoked that I'm gonna be able to do that soon, right?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. You just shoot through these tiny gaps in your house. Yeah, go ahead and play this. So this is a video I put up at Christmas while I was testing. I didn't tell people it was 1S.
That's awesome.
But yeah, this is all 1S flying outdoor, and then I go indoors after this clip.
That's awesome. And so here's another little thing. Like you have all of the OSD elements on the screen there.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's not something that you can just easily do with DJI stuff.
DJI does do OSD a bit like this, but they stopped kind of developing it any further. Betaflight put in an option to do where the flight controller can tell the goggle where to draw all the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's called canvas mode, and that's what HDZero has. So you can get into the full system menu in Betaflight and do all of the widgets and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's a true replacement to analog.
I mean, this is awesome. So I'm gonna fly my Tiny Hawk 3, same exact quad. I will fly it around my basement here in a minute, and I mean, this is so much better. Like I am chomping at the bit to get a VTX on one of these things. Like it just, like that's.
Yeah, it does look great.
It does.
And the thing that always kills me is there's guys on the comments. I'm sure you read your comments on YouTube that my analog looks better than that.
No.
And like, okay,
it doesn't.
I don't know how to respond to this right now.
Hey, that's cool. Good for you, guy. Like you've got the world's greatest analog, apparently. I mean. Yeah.
It's got some colors. You're right, man. The colors are there.
The colors really pop, huh?
It's so good. This is awesome. I will be surprised if, not is analog going to be a thing? Like this is so much better. I just can't envision analog being around a whole lot longer. If it's getting to the point where it's 3.5, 4 grams to add it to any little quad, like why would you not?
Why would you not? The only reason is cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only reason. But the experience you get is just so much better than analog.
It
How's
really
the
is.
power? How's the power and range?
Sure. Yeah. So this is it's going to consume about 5 watts, and the power level is 25 to 200 milliwatt.
Okay.
But you've done some testing, and it looks, watt or milliwatt per to milliwatt. It's as good, if not better, than an analog signal.
Yeah. Yep. So I did a lot of testing with analog side by side and pushing the systems to their limits. And yeah, power level for power level, they're pretty equivalent, but HDZero is looking more consistent up until the limit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you're not going all color shifty and looking like crap. Yep.
Yeah. No, this is, yeah. I need to get my hands on one of those VTXs. But there's another problem, right? Like, let's just say that I had one. It's not going to work with my goggles, right? So I need to get what do I need to get, right? How do we get this system? If we're an average consumer, where do we got to go, and where can we find this stuff?
Yeah. Well, it'll work with any HDMI goggle or TV or monitor. So sometimes I'll even fly from my TV when I put it in game mode or a projector.
Yeah.
So it's pretty compatible in that regard. So you need a Byte VRX, which currently isn't made anymore.
Yeah.
Which is a problem. Yep. So there's a new VRX from HDZero directly coming out very soon.
Okay.
And then the other option is there's the Scout HD, which is a box goggle at $250 that has the HDZero built in.
Okay.
And then beyond that, Carl announced that a premium goggle is being released with OLED screens, with HDZero built in.
Okay.
Analog input also.
All right. So he's producing his own goggle then, huh?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. So the Shark Byte, you can't really get that anymore, right? Or maybe there's some hanging around somewhere.
Right. There might be some laying around that you can find.
All right. So we're just kind of hanging out, waiting for production to kind of ramp up in China before we can get that stuff. Does that sound about right?
Yep. Yeah. So there was a 1 month delay from China locking down completely the city of Xi'an.
Yeah.
And then coming right out of that is Chinese New Year.
Yes. Yeah. Right now. Mm-hmm.
Yes. There goes 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yep.
So there goes a month and a half off of people that could have had the VRX at the end of this month.
Yeah.
Okay. So realistically, when are we going to see a lot of people getting this stuff?
Yeah, I think the soonest that anyone's going to be able to get another receiver is going to be the end of February.
Yeah.
Or early March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that the whole thing is designed and ready to get manufactured. I've seen it.
That's awesome.
So do you think? So Jack's told me Jack's got some pretty optimistic projections here. Do you think, like him, that this is going to take over? Is this 2 years from now, or is analog dead? In your opinion,
I
won't worry about the haters right now.
Sure. So I want to be realistic.
Yeah.
I think that analog will always have a place in the cheapest of cheap. At the very entry level, we're talking a $5 to $10 camera and a $5 to $10 VTX.
Yeah,
you're just never going to replace that. But if you're willing to spend, let's say, $90 to $100 for a drone to have digital instead of analog, it's going to kill all of those options. There's no reason to spend good money on mid to high-end analog. Just no reason.
Okay. So you think it's what kind of adder then to a drone? Dollar-wise?
For the price?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it depends. If you've got like the cheapest of cheap, I think you can do analog for $10 to $15 a drone. Right. But I don't think you can even really compete in that arena. So I think more likely you'd be looking at mid to high end analog, where it's $40 to $60 per drone. Some of them are even going up to $80 per drone for the really high end analog stuff.
Okay.
So I see all that getting wiped out with the options of about a $100 VTX plus camera in digital.
So and $50, $50 adder roughly, you know.
Yep. And then if you look on like the really heavy 1 watt side, so I've got that here too, with the big boy cameras and the big boy everything. Yeah. That's $150 for the whole kit, with the 4x3 micro cam and the 1 watt VTX and an antenna.
What about these little guys?
Yeah,
what do you think there?
I can tell you that there's some movement.
Yeah.
Happening with the manufacturers. They're seeing this and going, wait a minute, that looks pretty good.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So the price adder is always going to be the thing, right?
Sure.
Is a consumer willing to pay the extra to have digital? Let's call it $50 to $60 more in this kind of category. Yeah, I think if we as a community are tired of analog and are willing to pay $50 to $60 more per drone, yeah.
And do you think that is there something about the technology where that price is going to stay there, or is it going to come down over time?
Yeah. So right now we're dealing with chip shortage, right?
Yeah.
I think that prices across the board are going to be higher than they were 2 years ago. And that's due to inflation and other reasons. Sure. But prices for chips are going to go down in the next year, I think, but just not to the levels that we saw before.
Right.
I don't know if I answered your question, but
yeah, I mean,
right
just
now
technology.
It's more expensive to make everything, and it's going to get a little less expensive to make everything in maybe the end of the year, but not dramatically so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the hobby is in a really good place in terms of things that are coming out right now. You know, ELRS is awesome, right?
I love it.
It's fantastic, and it's getting better really fast.
Yeah.
You know, there's that, and then you have HDZero. Betaflight is easier to use. Like, there's just, you know, the hobby when we started in 2016, like, I just remember the first time I tried to bind my quad to my, you know, my radio, it was just like, I wanted to pull my hair out. I didn't understand anything. It was so frustrating. Then finally I got it. And, you know, you think I'd be a better flyer by now, but it's everything is better, and it's moving in the right direction. I think ELRS and HDZero are two things that just really are moving the hobby in the right direction.
Yeah, and I look at Express LRS, and I feel like HDZero and Express LRS are following a similar trajectory, both in, I think, market share and in the pace of development and the amount of community involvement. We're seeing these two just have a very similar vibe, and also Express LRS stuff is starting to get integrated into HDZero stuff.
That's
so
cool.
The new VRX that's coming out actually has Express LRS support built in to automatically follow the VTX channel selection.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And the new goggle has that too.
That's super cool.
So what would you say to somebody who's, you know, in the hobby, they spent hundreds of dollars on analog stuff, and they're like, man, this stuff is changing so fast. You know, am I going to invest and then it's going to change again a year later, and I'm not going to be equipped again? What would you say to that? Or it's just too hard to tell?
That's the fun of the hobby, honestly. is something new always coming out, and always having something new to potentially buy. I feel bad for people that get into this and think that they're only going to spend $150, because that's not how it goes. You're going to see something new and shiny, and you're going to be like, I need that. So what would I say to that person? I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, and you're going to love it too.
Yeah, you're right though. I keep talking about this Tiny Hawk 3, and it's awesome because, this is the first kit I think that I really like all the components, and they're $300. You get a goggle, you get a radio, you get a headset, and it's all okay stuff. But you're right, you're not just going to spend $300, because if you like this, you're still going to end up buying a more expensive radio, and then you're going to upgrade the goggles to something that's more expensive. I mean, it is like most hobbies, it is a money pit. It's just, the new thing comes out and you're like, oh, well shoot, now I got to find HDZero so I can use this HDMI port on the bottom of my goggles, and I got to buy a new VTX for this thing. And yeah, it's exciting, but it's like hobbies, it's expensive. So
yeah. I can say Carl's really concerned with keeping things affordable.
Yeah.
And is always pushing to allow people to get into it. Yeah. And we all appreciate that.
Yeah. And that's cool. It's nice that Carl takes input from people, because, when I think of, say, Fat Shark, how long did it take them to give the goggles a stinking power button? And, it's like we're going to make this goggle and everyone likes it, and this is what everybody buys, and everyone's going to keep buying it because we like our design. So you're going to have to like it too. I just don't know that that's the best business model. Do you know a little bit of the how it went from Shark Byte to not Shark Byte to HDZero? How did that, like, they were working together somehow, and I thought that was a cool pairing, and now they're not?
Yeah, that's a whole rigmarole. I don't know the whole story, but I'll tell you what I know.
Okay.
So I think Greg at Fat Shark, the owner of Fat Shark, or founder, met Carl at a trade show where Carl was showing off HDZero and thought this would be a good pairing to go with my analog goggle and move into digital. And I believe all this happened before DJI was known, before it was hit the market. DJI just came out of nowhere and said, hey, here's the FPV system. So before that, they were working on it, and Fat Shark and Divi Math came out with Byte Frost, which was powered by HDZero, but Fat Shark was the front runner on the marketing and the naming of the product. So Byte Frost is this 7-inch monitor, maybe it's 5-inch monitor, with an HDMI output that you would then plug into your goggle. The bad thing about it is that it was an analog camera that fed into the VTX, and then it was transmitted digitally. So you can guess how that went over.
Yep.
And they called it a beta because it was.
Yeah.
So the thing is that Byte Frost monitor actually used the same ASIC chip in it that we currently use today in the Shark Byte product. And you can even use the Byte Frost monitor with Shark Byte and with HDZero, because it's all the same technology. So fast forward a year after the Byte Frost system, condensed the system down to a small module that you could then clip onto the front of the goggle, and then run HDMI from the module into your goggle, so that you didn't have to have this external ground station type thing. And that's where I got into the system. I didn't get into it with the Byte Frost stuff because I thought that was kind of stupid. Why do I want to have this external thing that I have to deal with?
Yeah.
I almost got DJI several times while I was waiting for this to come out.
Yeah.
But I held on to it because I had Fat Sharks at the time, and I really liked the idea of this fixed low latency. So then things just got weird. Once this came out, the reviews started to come in, and they were not positive. So Bardwell put one up and showed it, and it's like, it doesn't look much better than analog, basically. And I think at that point, Fat Shark started to pull back from development. Nothing really happened after that. And at the same time that started to happen, Red Cat came in and acquired Fat Shark, which is a holding company of other drone companies. So they wanted a goggle manufacturer to be part of their portfolio. And nothing happened for the next like 6 months. Kept on telling Fat Shark that you need to have a better camera to really show the system off, and just nothing would happen. So eventually Carl said, okay, I'm going to talk to RunCam, and we're going to get a camera, and I'm going to send it to you, and if you like it, we're going to make them.
Yeah.
We're going to just do this.
Cool.
And so if you look at the Micro V1 review I did, that was that prototype camera that Carl shelled out the money to go have RunCam produce. And that's where everything kind of branched off.
Yeah.
Is that Fat Shark wasn't involved in developing the system any further, and Carl was taking the lead.
That is interesting. Well, that's cool. I'm excited and impatiently waiting for some of these products to kind of hit the market. That'll be fun. Yeah, like I said, I think the hobby's in a good place. It's moving forward. Lots of really fun things coming out with HDZero and ELRS, and it's funny because Sky Zone makes a good goggle. I would have not guessed that, and Radio Master makes a good remote. Like there's people are not satisfied with just what things were, and there are a lot of good companies making pretty solid products. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like Jack, I definitely look forward to doing Turtle Time, which is our streaming solo race, if you will, around the basement. I look forward to doing that digitally this year. Let's go shoot for 2022 at least with the whoops.
Yeah. It'll happen.
All right.
That's awesome.
I think that one board will be out in the next couple months.
That's cool. Should we transition to do some Turtle Time?
I think we can. What are you going to be flying?
The Tiny Hawk 3. So
okay, it's working for you.
I haven't tested it since you left, but I'm gonna find out. So let me go ahead and set this up, Chris. You can tell people about Turtle Time and what to expect.
All right, so let me give you the rundown here. Basically, Jack is going to fly around the basement. Everybody start. Jack's never done this, so we don't have the same kind of history that you have with me flying. But start putting in your bets. Put it in a number of seconds or minutes and seconds, whatever you want. Start putting them in the comments. How long do you think he is going to fly? His flight ends if he gets stuck or if he turtles. If he crashes, bounces off of things, that kind of stuff, it's all good. We keep the clock running. Or if we run out of battery, that's the only other thing. Turtles, getting stuck, or running out of battery. And Jack, you expect the Tiny Hawk 3 to fly for how long if you fly perfectly? Before you run out of battery.
If I fly perfectly, that's a hilarious thing to say. Yeah, I think
What's the battery limited time?
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Okay.
Is the best I could possibly do.
So don't bet over 5. I'm seeing 55 seconds, 60 seconds. I think people bet a little higher on me, Jack. I don't know. We got one at 2:36. Oh, you're used to watching this. Usually I'm the guy getting set up here. I think I hit all the rules. Oh, if Jack is under 20 seconds, which is where I placed my bet if it weren't against the rules, then he gets another shot at it. and we start over. I will be running a timer on my phone as backup here. For whenever
I'd say 59 seconds.
59. Okay, you can put that in the comments. Did you throw it in there?
We're having some serious issues. My
that does look serious.
It doesn't want to be bound here.
Oh boy.
I honestly I did fly it briefly earlier when Chris was here.
You got a backup plan there?
Nope, I got it. We're good.
Okay. We still got we still got ants racing.
I know, we're coming.
Analog favorite. You don't get to see this on the TV anymore. There we are.
Yeah.
Look at that glorious analog.
I had to switch channels because Chris was over here, so I was on race band 3.
So Jack just finished his basement, so he's got a whole new setup down there. He finished it himself.
You guys can see my work.
Yeah.
All right.
Not the ceiling. Ceiling's
Are we good to go?
Yeah. Just tell me when. I'll say start. You ready?
I'm ready. I was born ready. Maybe.
All right. Do it.
Hold on. Here we go.
All right. You started. Clock is started.
So far, so good.
Let's see a little bit of breakup. Ooh, what about that video? We could sure use some digital right about now.
Yeah.
Flickers. Is this what you were seeing earlier, Jack?
It's actually not terrible for me. It must be much worse for you.
Ooh, I saw a little hesitation. I don't know. Who knows what's happening with the stream?
Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got it going here. Let's do those chairs. Ooh, I'm sure you meant to go through the first one and under the second. I'm sure that's what you were going for. Easy. It's turtle.
Son of a.
All right.
Gosh, that was terrible.
Yeah.
That was just straight up horrible.
Yeah.
I got to get into a rhythm.
You made it over 20, but I'm posting the answer at 44. I see Sergio's close at 48.
47 was my total arm. That's what the dealio says.
I got 44 until you were turtled.
Okay.
Should we go with that as the official?
You're the dude. I'm just flying. So.
Okay, if you're closer than I see Sergio at 48, let us know.
I see Lon showed up to give us a smart ass comment, so that was nice. Thank you, Lon.
What did Lon have to say?
He said it would take us 7 minutes and 40 seconds before we get it going.
Well, he was optimistic for you. I saw his bet was over 2 minutes, so he was rooting for you.
I was ripping earlier today with this thing.
Now, did you feel a little bit of the pressure of the live stream?
Well, it was when you said, like, I didn't mean to go through one chair and then under the other. I'm like, well, I'm going to do it now. I should have just kind of flown a little bit, kind of get the feel going and then go from there. But
now you know.
I did not.
You've been talking smack to me. Now you know what it's like.
I know. I definitely. I'm going to call that a fail under pressure for sure.
All right, next week you got to redeem yourself. Next time.
Awesome. All right, so who's our winner?
I think we got Fly Zone Drones, Sergio.
Sergio got a t-shirt like 2 weeks ago. All right, yeah. We'll send him another one. That's fine. He wins. He wins.
It's like socks. You don't want one pair. You got to have one in circulation.
Yeah. So Sergio, let me know what color t-shirt we send. We'll send you a different design. That's what we'll do. We got a few of them. So let us know. Oh yeah. Lon says he thought I knows how to fly FPV. That's not true. I don't.
He knows.
I don't
he can fly acro.
I do know how to, which I wasn't. I don't fly acro in my house. I can't fly acro when I bounce off of things.
What about you, Ryan? You fly indoor acro?
I fly mostly angle indoor, but I've been getting into doing acro indoor actually, because you can kind of combine and do swooping moves and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. A little more flexible.
Yeah, but it's a lot more sketchy.
It is. Yeah, I hit something and I'm all over the place anyway. But yeah, it's it's fun. So all right. Well, yeah, we'll call it a night. Ryan, thank you for joining us, and thanks for sharing HDZero. We're excited about it. I hope people are too. So
I learned a lot. It's great.
Yeah, I'm glad I could share with you.
Yeah, and if there's a link to Ryan's channel, if you haven't seen it, make sure let's throw a link in the chat. Oh yeah, thanks.
Yeah, make sure you check that out and
check it out. Yeah, there's a link in the video description there. And if you want more info on HDZero, let's throw one of those in the chat too, just so people have it there. But yeah, both of those are okay. Got it. Still connected. It's out there under my ping pong table. I know. I'll go get it. She's telling me I crashed. I get it. I know. But yeah, good times and awesome. We'll be following the HDZero and hopefully those
very
products they'll be coming out soon.
Yeah, I want to see you flying HDZero sooner than later. So
maybe it'll make him fly better. He needs all the help he can get.
That's the thing. Like I swear, the minute I flew digital, I was a better pilot outside doing acro. I think the ability to see really does matter. It does. Help.
It does.
I don't know how much it's going to help. And now my quad is beeping in the other room. It's super angry.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, and thanks, Ryan, again for joining us. It was great.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Happy flying.
Yeah.
Night.